There's a lot of talk in the world we live in about friends with benefits. But is there any value and any merit in having friends with divine benefits? Hi, my name is Mary. I think about friendship a lot because relationships in general are something that God has made very near and dear to my heart. And in particular, I like to examine and evaluate what divine friendships ought to be, what they ought to look like in different times, in different seasons. And the world has its version of friends with benefits, and it's not always as innocent as it sounds. But is there a version, is there a room for us to have friends with divine benefits? And what I mean by that is having friends whose benefits are not carnal in nature, but are actually spiritual in nature. And how do we develop these kinds of friendships? The first thing we have to do is understand friendship from God's perspective. And we see how different people in the Bible would relate with one another as friends. In particular, I'm drawn to the story of David and Jonathan. Jonathan was the son of King Saul. Jonathan was essentially a prince. He was first in line to the throne, the same throne that God had taken from his father and given to David. Yet you look at the kind of covenant that Jonathan made with David to be his life friend, to be his covenant brother. You look at the way Jonathan laid down his life for David, and you realize that theirs was not a usual kind of friendship. It was not a normal kind of friendship. It was something that was born and birthed out of a revelation, because no one in their right mind happily supports some random person who comes into their life and is being given everything that was, insofar as birthright is concerned, theirs to have. That is the same reality that we have to contend with when it comes to the Lord, where we look at our friendships not just as a place to take from, not just as a place to receive benefits from, but first and foremost as a place to offer benefit, to be beneficial, where we are looking at loving our friends first before we expect them to love us back, where we are looking at giving first before we expect them to give, where we are looking at being the kind of friends that we would desire them to be. It's also inviting God into the conversation of what kind of friends we need to have and we need to be in different seasons of our lives, because people change, situations change, we are constantly changing, and that means that our friendships cannot have the same baseline from start to finish. They have to adapt and grow with the seasons, and the only way to ensure that we are relevant in our friendships is to ensure that we are being led of God, to ensure that we are constantly checking in with God and asking, am I supplying what I need to in the relationships I have with my friends? Are they supplying what they need to in our relationship? Or am I here expecting them to offer me something that you have not given them grace to do for me? And so I'm getting mad at them for stuff that they are not even responsible for to begin with. I'm the one who's put a burden on them that they shouldn't have in the first place. You'd be surprised how much anguish and bitterness and pain and arguments would be resolved even before they begin if we were only to do something that simple. So friends with divine benefits can exist, but they require us to be selfless. If anything, it's the complete opposite of what friends with benefits looks like in the world. When you're not looking to use someone for your benefit, but you're looking to feed and supply into them for their well-being, even if there is no direct benefit to you. That is the way of Christ. That is the way of love. That is the way of the Lord. Now, this does not mean that you make friends with people who will only give you a one-way traffic when it comes to friendship, where you're the one who's constantly giving and never getting anything in return. No, there's supposed to be an exchange between two parties. And that's why I mentioned it's important to ask God, what kind of friends do I need to be in my life? Because it's also possible to veer on the other extreme where you're the constant giver, and there are people in life who will unfortunately take advantage of that. But if you're checking in with the Lord and having Him filter who you're allowing in your life and to what degree you're allowing them there, then you will be surprised at the fruit. Then you will be surprised at the fruit that will come out of your friendships and how you will be all the more better for it, even when you're the one who's selflessly giving to those who are in your life. Thank you for joining me today. I will see you in the next episode.